Hey fellas, this is Dino Boyo, and we just received the official trailer for the forthcoming third season of Prehistoric Planet, titled Prehistoric Planet Ice Age, set to be released on November 26, 2025. Unlike the first two seasons, which focused on the Maastrichtine stage of the late Cretaceous, this season will instead focus on the Pleistocene and its megafauna, from the tiny dwarf elephant Stegodon to the gigantic moa. Additionally, unlike the previous seasons, narration will be done by Tom Hiddleston instead of David Attenborough, while the visual effects, which were done by the Moving Picture Company, which unfortunately closed down earlier this year, are now being produced by none other than Framestore themselves, known best for their work on the Walking With series, Primeval and Prehistoric Park, who, based on the trailer, haven't lost a step at all. So, does this season look like it will live up to the magic of the first two? I mean, probably, but I still think it would be nice to look at what we have in store. Also, hopefully this time I'm not wrong about certain things like I was in that Walking With Dinosaur trailer analysis video that I did a few months back. Or correct about others. So with that in mind, let's dig up and see what we can uncover. One thing I should probably get out of the way, as I probably would be saying it throughout the entire analysis if I didn't, is just how far Framestore have come in their visual effects work. I'm not saying their work on shows like Walking With Beasts was bad, it's still very good, but those CGI models sometimes felt a little bit off. Now, they are generating effects so mind-blowingly photorealistic that the prehistoric creatures look truly indistinguishable from actual living animals. Honestly, if I was a kid watching this for the first time, I would genuinely believe that these creatures were still around. I can't praise the team's achievements enough. What they've pulled off in this series is simply fantastic. The trailer first starts showcasing the icy wasteland before cutting to our first animal we see as it plows through the snow, the icon of the Ice Age, the one and only woolly mammoth. Overall, I really love that the design added the blonde tinge to their coats. Usually with a lot of documentaries, mammoth coat colour will either be a dark brown or ginger hue, when in reality, thanks to DNA evidence, mammoths may have also had light blonde coats, making these designs look a little more visually distinct from other depictions. We also see that the mammoths will not only have to survive in the glacial tundra, but also contend with the harsh elements on the vast open grassy plains of the Mammoth Steppe, including a massive sandstorm, demonstrating the team's central mission to debunk the icy wasteland myth and replace it with a portrayal of the more vibrant world the Earth was during the Ice Age. Next, we see a pride of Homotherium serum, otherwise known as the scimitar-toothed cat, looking over a frozen lake as they prepare for a hunt, most likely against a herd of woolly mammoths, as we see one at the end of the trailer clinging onto a mammoth's face as the mammoth then proceeds to throw the big cat onto the ground. However, this species of Homotherium is not the only one we will be getting, as we also see both H. hallorensis as we see it roar and attack a group of N. hydriodon and H. latidans as they chase a group of woolly rhinos. I love each of their designs, as it's quite clear the design team made sure that each of their fur coats reflects their habitat. For example, H. hallorensis has a taupe coat like that of a lion to blend with the pale dry yellows and browns of the savanna. H. serum has a more completely white coat adapted for camouflage when hunting in the frozen tundra, while conversely, H. latidans has a greyish coat with black spots to help it blend with the natural colours of the tree trunks in its forest habitat, highlighting the team's dedication to show just how diverse and globally adapted the Homotherium genus truly was. However, the trailer makes it clear we're not just getting traditional Ice Age scenes, as we then cut to a megalonyx, also known as the Jefferson ground sloth, as it emerges from an underground burrow in the snow. Later in the trailer, we see the mother with its young actively playing in the drifts, most likely after a specific segment we actually got to see a sneak peek of 2 weeks prior to the official release of the trailer, where the mother and one of its young uses the snow to clean their fur, as the youngest remained apprehensive before ultimately joining in. I really like this because, just like with the first two seasons, it shows that the team wants to highlight complex, unique behaviours these animals may have had, rather than just showing the usual solitary struggle for food or intraspecific combat that so many other documentaries focus on. After a sequence of environmental shots that uses a glacier and a rising tide to depict the cooling and thawing periods which spanned across the entire Ice Age, we then see several glimpses of animals we will see in the series. The first one being that of a young Stegodon floriensis on its own as it becomes distracted by a butterfly. We also see later what can be assumed to be the same stegodon with its mother, suggesting that at some point it may have gotten separated and is now trying to find its way back to her, though now at the risk of the island's predators, which we can also see for a brief second in the sequence as what can be identified to be the Flores giant stork. Though extant species of storks are typically scavengers of carrion, so it might be something else that the young elephant might have to be concerned about. The island of Flores has always interested me, as much like Hatzeg Island, it is essentially a world turned upside down, where due to insular dwarfism and gigantism, animals you expect to be big are small and animals you expect to be small are big. I am hoping that as a result of the series exploring this island, we do get a chance to see Homo floresiensis. I know this series probably won't have any human species in it, but it would be pretty cool if they were included. Overall, I'm looking forward to how this plays out. But if anything happens to this baby elephant, I swear I'm gonna be so mad. Shifting our focus, we encounter a small group of the giant kangaroo Procoptodon making their way across the outback of Australia. Similar to the isolated island of Flores, I'm really eager to see more Australian megafauna showcased, since these enormous marsupials are so distinctive that it's somewhat unfortunate that they're so often eclipsed by the megafauna of Eurasia and the Americas, despite the fact that Australia was home to just as many fascinating, if not even more fascinating species. Among them are these giant kangaroos I've just mentioned, as well as another animal highlighted in the trailer, the marsupial lion Phylacoleo. This predator not only possessed an unusual arrangement of teeth and the most powerful bite of any mammalian carnivore, but also had semi-opposable thumbs, allowing it to climb trees and launch itself onto unsuspecting prey. Speaking of giants, we then cut to another creature that I'm excited to see, a giant I know I've already said this regarding both Australia and the Flores Islands, but I can't lie, I'm also really looking forward to seeing some more representation from Madagascar on screen. Madagascar during and after the Ice Age contained some of the most bizarre megafauna, as due to the animals being isolated there for millions of years, it led them to rapidly change into highly specialized species. From the already mentioned giant fossa, which by the way looks really cool, giant sloth and koala-like lemurs, pygmy hippos, and of course the elephant bird, which we also get a glimpse of in the trailer as it leans down to look at something with curiosity. What that thing is, we currently don't know yet. Regardless, it does fill me with excitement that the series is giving these unique faunas the spotlight they absolutely deserve, especially when a lot of these faunas should still be around today. We are then given a glimpse of a more recognizable Ice Age mammal, but not the one you're probably familiar with. This is Glyptotherium, a close cousin of Glyptodon, with the trailer showcasing a mother walking across the North American desert with her offspring. Even though Glyptotherium isn't as well known as its famous cousin, I appreciate that the series is highlighting lesser known species, especially since Glyptotherium was actually the most widespread member of the Glyptodon group, with fossils being found as far north as Oklahoma and as far south as Brazil. And it's not as if the show is ignoring the iconic Glyptodons either, as we later get a quick shot of two Didacurises locked in intraspecific combat, so I think we're going to have a pretty awesome mixture of Glyptodons in the series. We then cut to a Thorny Devil, a species of lizard that still lives in Australia today, before getting our first look at a male Dinornis, otherwise known as the giant moa. We later see in the trailer what is likely the same male attempting to court a female giant moa that stands nearly twice his height. I absolutely love that they have put such a strong emphasis on the extreme sexual dimorphism of this genus, not just with the size but with the colour, as the male is depicted with that vibrant brighter blue skin on his head and neck, making him visually striking. In contrast, the much larger female has a far more subdued, lighter greyish blue appearance. It's a fantastic detail that really highlights one of the more fascinating biological aspects of this bird. We are next shown a glimpse of an adorable baby mammoth and its family before cutting to a group of Coelodonta, also commonly known as the woolly rhino, which appear to be foraging for food within a snow-covered forest before they are disturbed by a pride of Homotherium, leading the adults and calves to flee as they are then chased. What intrigues me, however, is that they are moving as a crash. Based on fossil evidence and modern rhino behaviour, it is believed that woolly rhinos were largely solitary animals. However, female modern rhinos do sometimes form groups called a crash, most likely to protect calves from predators, so it shouldn't be too surprising to see them depicted in a similar manner. Like with the Jefferson ground sloth, I really like this because it showcases something not previously seen with woolly rhinos, which are often depicted on their lonesome often foraging for food or in intraspecific conflict with other members of its species. The trailer then gives us more peeks of lesser known species that have never really appeared in the documentary, as we are then given a glimpse of the largest ever ground sloth known as Eremotherium as it forages for food, and oh my goodness, they're naked. Don't worry, as there is a reason for this, as scientists now believe that due to large mammals such as elephants, rhinos and hippos only having a sparse covering of hair, that megafauna of similar sizes would most likely be the same, leading the team behind the show to depict the skin of Eremotherium as almost being bare, which goes to show the amount of effort they are applying to their animal reconstructions. A glimpse at what I can assume to be either Macrocenia or Xenorhinotherium is then shown, which is now accurately depicted with a shorter trunk like those of a saiga antelope instead of the more tapir-like trunk it previously had in Walking with Beasts. Regardless, it appears that it won't be around for long, as an official screenshot shows that it has been brought down by a short-faced bear known as Arctotherium, the largest bear that has ever existed. We are then shown what appears to be a herd of Steller's sea cows gliding through a kelp forest before the scene shifts to a lone individual calmly feeding. It's honestly startling to see these creatures appear in the series, but then I remember the reason they're included. For anyone unfamiliar, the Steller's sea cow was one of the rare megafaunal species that actually made it past the end of the last ice age, persisting even after its numbers shrank during the glacial cycles and survived all the way into the 1700s, until humans tragically hunted it to extinction for its meat, fat and hide. That history is precisely what makes its presence in Prehistoric Planet so moving. Like the moa and the giant fossa, it serves as a stark reminder of how profoundly humans can alter ecosystems and how much of the extraordinary biodiversity the world once held could have still been around. We then see a glimpse of a megalosaurus, otherwise known as the Irish elk, as it leaps over a small canyon, most likely fleeing from a predator. What predator it is remains unknown, but I would guess it is most likely either a cave lion or a group of cave hyenas, as we have a better image of what I can presume to be the same animal entering a cave to seek shelter, only to most likely disturb what's inside, leading it to give chase. A brief glimpse of a small marsupial is then shown as it appears to jump over what can be assumed to be the well-known Australian giant lizard Megalania. Promotional images provide a clearer view of the design, which I genuinely appreciate. However, I am concerned about the depiction of the eyes, as why are its pupils slitted? Typically, nocturnal animals possess slit eyes to enhance their ability to hunt in low-light conditions. In contrast, monitor lizards including Megalania are usually diurnal and therefore would be expected to have round pupils, which are more suitable for daytime predators, making this decision to give them these type of eyes a weird design choice. The final new animal, or rather I should say two animals that we see in the trailer, happens to be another mother ground sloth with its young climbing up the face of a cliff before being ambushed by a large bird of prey attempting to attack them, most likely trying to catch the youngster. While it hasn't been confirmed yet, with the animal only being referred to as a climbing sloth, it gives us a substantial clue to what this animal might be, as it's more than likely that the species is Diabolotherium, due to the sloth possessing similar long and slender limbs to the species. More recent finds of the animal being discovered in the high altitudes of the Andes suggest it may have been adapted to climbing in rocky terrain similar to the sloth on screen. As a result, I wouldn't be surprised if the large bird of prey was the still extant Andean condor, as these animals were present around the same time that Diabolotherium was still around. As shown throughout the video, we did get several screenshots of animals already confirmed from the trailer, but also other creatures that will appear, which I am excited to see. These include the terror bird Silopterus, the giant wombat Diprotodon, the giant ape Gigantopithecus, a dire wolf, a Columbian mammoth getting trapped in a tar pit, an anatomically accurate Elasmotherium, rest in peace massive horn, and of course the saber-toothed cat themselves, Smilodon, further showcasing the absolutely diverse array of animals the show is going to feature in just 5 episodes alone. So, what are my personal thoughts on the trailer overall? As you couldn't already tell, I'm really excited to see this series. After the first 2 original seasons of Prehistoric Planet were finished and the moving picture company sadly shut down earlier this year, I didn't think we were ever getting any more seasons, at least not for a very long time. Yet lo and behold, not only did we get another season of this, but also one that isn't focused on the Maastrichtian stage of the late Cretaceous. While I still personally love that period of time, I can't say I'm not getting a little little tired of seeing it, so it's a nice breath of fresh air to showcase other prehistoric animals from different time periods. Hopefully this season is just as successful as the first two, because if it is, we might get more seasons taking place during more unique time periods such as the Jurassic or Permian. I'd really love to see that. I also know it's a shame that David Attenborough didn't return for this series, and I would have loved to have heard him again, but I have heard Tom Hiddleston's narration here, and I have to say I still quite like it. I'm usually not a huge fan of celebrity narrations due to them usually phoning it in, but Hiddleston actually sounds like he's putting a lot of effort into this, so I've got to give him a lot of respect, especially when you're taking over from David Attenborough of all people. But what do you think of the trailer? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know I still haven't done a follow-up on my thoughts on either Jurassic Park Rebirth or Walking with Dinosaurs 2025, but they are still being made. I just really haven't had the time to make longer, more in-depth videos at the moment, but hopefully I should be able to start getting ahead of those soon enough. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss any of my future videos. And with that, I will see you in another time. Goodbye.